I think it's important people put themselves in that position of the investor and say, you know, why should I invest in you? It's not what do I want? It's what's compelling me to do this, right? And if it's, well, because this is a great idea and it's going to grow in perpetuity. Okay. But I'm still putting money in and I want money out,
Right.
So like that's a very important thing to understand. Along with that comes, if I'm writing you a big enough check, am I going to want to participate in discussions on where the company direction goes? So, I would say to somebody going out and raising their seed money, it's going to be friends and family because it's, more trust in you. Now, Series A is an interesting point because that's when you're kind of crusting into the professional investor world. Maybe you get some angels in between, but so from a professional investor, what do they want? And it goes back to everything I just said. And something important to think about for the professional investor is if I've got a fund and I'm investing in early stage companies, I assume at least half of those are going to fail. So you're going to have to make up the ground, like for the ones that fail,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I can't have, if I have half go 2x and half go 0, I'm flat. And flat is not an acceptable business model for me. So you guys got to go 10x so I can go 0 over here and average down to, a 4 or 5x turn. And you have to do that in an acceptable time frame.
Yeah. So I'm hearing first thing you said is it's don't focus solely on what the investor wants. Focus on what you want. And then there's a slight contradiction because you're also saying you have to understand the investor and why they're doing this. It's not necessarily about what they want. It's you have to understand the game.
Well, and I think maybe another good question, right, is, what do investors want? And it really depends on the stage of the company and the type of the investor.
Mm-hmm.
So you get your seed investor is your Uncle Joe, and he wants to see you succeed. And that's a lot different than a professional investor coming in at a Series A or B, knowing your audience, just like it's good in any presentation or performance, super key in pitching. And so, looking at the fund structure itself. So typically Series B, it's going to be a venture capital fund. They have their own investors. They're looking after a pool of money. They need to get a high return on that pool of money. So investors come back to them. And they know they're in a risky area of the, call it valuation curve or investment curve. And, they're investing in earlier stage companies as opposed to mature, proven things. And they need a risk reward trade-off for that. So that's where you see, if I'm a Series B and maybe 40% of what I'm investing in fails, 50%, then we need to see that like 10x return in, within 5-10 years. So what does that mean for somebody looking for investment? You need to show me the path of how I put $1 in today. What are you going to do for the next 5-10 years so that I can take $1 out or take $10 out, right? So $1 in today, show me the roadmap. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's a milestone I'm going to hit to prove that I'm doing it. Here's what we're going to turn that into. At the end of the road is my gold pot of my $10 back, whether that's form of an IPO, a shareholder buyout of some sort, some way that I get my money back because I have investors that I need to return that to.